Welcome back, baseball fans, to an Eliminating the California Angels video. We're looking at last year first, the 2021 stats of a team that won the American League West a year ago, and see what happened in the year. Last year, how did they get to this spot? Alex Johnson, my goodness, 361, All-Star, Team MVP, 69 hits in 44 games. Baylor hit 309 in his rookie deal. Larry Heisel had 10 over 32 RBIs, would be traded in the offseason for Cesar Tovar, for better or for worse. Tovar would go to an all-star game. Maury Wills was on this squad last year playing short. He was dealt in the offseason, so they'll miss his 17 stolen bases. The 266 batting average, but they thought they needed more hitting. They didn't have enough hitting this year, and that's why they got bounced in the playoffs. They had Ken Tatum as their closer, all-star closer for a couple years, 36-cent ERA, absolutely brilliant closer. Singer, yes, he won the Cy Young of 107 innings and a 2.34 ERA and 8 wins. And Nolan Ryan had 91 walks and 91 innings last year. Par for the course for that. 3.52 ERA. The team was 25-19, but they had lost in the playoff round to Detroit. So what happened a year later? Well, they wanted to get some bats, and they got Bobby Valentine, a 300 hitter, who hit 325 for them with 50 hits in 39 games. Richie Scheinblum, another 300 hitter, hits 290. They traded for Cesar Tovar, hit 307 with 12 stolen bases. He was sort of a combination of Maury Wills and Larry Heisel without the homers, I guess. John Stone hitting at 254. You have a bunch of guys hitting right around the 250 and below mark there in the offense. And then the pitching side of things, it was a little bit of a drop-off. Bill Singer could not pitch on 3 days rest anymore. So he had to fall to the 3 spot in the rotation behind Clyde Wright and Nolan Ryan, meaning that he only got 66 innings. Did pretty well with those 66 innings. He had a couple shutouts against the Texas Rangers in the postseason, but he would lose Game 7 to the Toronto Blue Jays, who, interestingly enough, would be Toronto Blue Jays opening day starter in 1977. Little known fact there. And he was out of baseball about a month later. Anyway, Singer, 4.2, 3.26 ERA. This is nice. Clyde Wright did a nice job as the number 2 starter, eventually the number 1 starter because of the Nolan Ryan struggles. Nolan Ryan, 4.96 and 3.7. But actually, the walk strikeout wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as it was a year ago with the same card. 71 walks and 85 innings is actually pretty good for this era. It was the 77 hits. It was a little bit on the high side and a surprise. And that's about it for the California Angels. And let's see what they're going to do. They have been up and down, up and down, up and down. Like a winning year, losing year, winning year, losing year. And they need to find some consistency year in and year out. Let's see about the 80 players and see who comes out. The 70 players. The 1970 players are being pulled out. And there are going to be some nice names in here. Yeah, there's going to be some really nice names in there. And they're going to have to figure out what to do with them. So let's see who's coming back. They're going to go with 7 hitters and 5 pitchers, which is the average split you would expect. Balanced split, at least. Let's see what we got here. Well, we got some infielders, some outfielders, and there you go. We have a second baseman. Billy Parker can play third base, though he's not particularly good. He's good defensive, I guess, but not with a stick. And Bobby Valentine, this was a good offensive card of his in 73. It's 302. That's your infield. Then you have in the outfield Johnstone, Baylor, Rivers, and this Scheinblum card. We saw this in the last series. That is 328 for you. Johnstone, nice balance, at least between lefties and righties. I like that. Of course, Baylor has plenty of power. Mickey Rivers is just getting started. So, you know, it's 7 decent hitters, 7 decent places to start. You have room to get a slugging catcher at first baseman to give this team a great offense, I would say. And your 5 pitchers, The big guy's missing though. Bill Singer, the guy who has righted the ship often for the Angels, the most reliable pitcher in the last 2 years. So Ryan, here's the card, and it's not pitched well in 2 tries. It's a 72 card, which means we have 2 more tries with it. Maybe it'll balance out in the next 2 years. And actually, in the California Ryan experience, this is the best one. This is the best Ryan card in the entire decade, and it's struggling. But like I said, 2 more attempts. He might, who knows, he might do well next year. Jim McLaughlin is capable. He was a red actually in 71, but the Angels held on to him. A nice, we love this Clyde Wright card. 2.99 ERA and 277 innings. Forget the 1-loss record. And Cecil Upshaw and Dave LaRoche in the bullpen. So I mean, it is the semblance of a 500 team that can go up if they draft well and find some guys in the farm system. And those 1970 players, if some of them come back and improve. So let's see what happens to the Angels and these 70 players. Okay, baseball fans, let's see what the Angels have to do with these 1970 players, the 8 of them. We begin with Larry Howard. He actually wasn't an Angel. He played from 70-73, which is actually our timeline. So 70 was with the Astros, and he had 307. 821 OPS. That was an outlier year. In 71, 2-3, he continues his career. And he's hitting 230, 223. As a catcher, though, I'm not inclined to cut players based on batting average. I got to see what their throwing arms are. And can he be in a platoon at catching? So the question at this point is, does he qualify for waivers with 68 plate appearances in 71? So I got to find that out. So I'm going to go to the Super D site and find the 71 roster sheet for Houston and see if Larry Howard is one of their catchers. They have Johnny Edwards and Jack Hyatt. Is he an extra player for Houston? Yes, he is. So he is an extra player in 71. That's good news, which means they have a guy going on waivers instead of retirement. So first guy goes on waivers. Okay, next guy, Alex Johnson. Boy, this card, I hit this card bang this card every year. Ton of hits, led the league in hits a couple times. Alex Johnson, you know, in this era he was pretty poor defensively, and that, you know, I mean, but the stick was insane. And 8 MVP in MVP voting, 202 hits in 70. That's about right. I believe that. 35 walks, 68 strikeouts. A guy who hits plenty of contact. 329 batting average. 3rd straight year in a row for Cincinnati or California where he hits 300, starting in 68, 69, and 70. So he's still playing through this timeline, 71, 2, 3, and 4, but he'll bounce around from California to Cleveland to Texas. He has cards in all those years. He will continue his career. Question is, do the Angels want him for one more year? As a 260 hitting outfielder who's not good defensively and has dropped 60 points on his batting average? He'll definitely qualify for waivers. He's got 261 plate appearances. So let's put him on waivers in a somewhat shocking move, because we have plenty of outfielders in California, as you saw. We've got Baylor and Johnstone, Scheinblum, Tovar. So we don't need Alex Johnson as a 5th one. The next player is Hal King, who had a nice platoon catcher role in 70 with a ton of power for the Braves. You see the numbers, 11 homers and 204 at-bats. That's a 461 slugging and 825 OPS. Pretty cool platoon catcher. A year later, in 71, the power's not there. He's only got 5 homers and more plate appearances and a 207 average. 73 for the Reds, though, he has power again, 465 slugging, but it's only as a pinch hitter and 49 plate appearances for the Reds. We can find out if that card exists. More importantly, though, the 71 card exists. And because it does, and because he's not connected to the Angels, let's put him on waivers also. That's fine. You can put a bunch on waivers. You can trade these guys. So King will go on waivers. We've spotted some guys we want to keep, so we're getting closer to them. And here's one of them, Jim Spencer. Smooth in the field at first base. Was a 1 pretty much most of his career. That's one of the best fielding first basemen of his time. Was with the Angels through 73, then he got traded to Texas, and then eventually on the White Sox and the Yankees. Had a monster 79 for the Yankees, but that's a story for another day. So, he is in 71 for the Angels. He hits 18 home runs. His batting average drops, but the power's there, and we know he'll have a great glove. And they also have an Angel card in 72 and 73. He's a keeper. You got to keep Jim Spencer. You know he's going to be a 1 defensively. That's going to help you. So Spencer's going to be kept. Next player, a guy they traded for, Cesar Tovar. Was it for the long term? I'm not so sure. So Tovar, the Twins were willing to let him go after 70. And he has at least one more good year before the average starts to dip. And actually, it's still good in 74. So the Angels are going to definitely keep him. You got a 204 hit Tovar card in 71 that you traded for. So if you really want to get value out of that trade, you hold on to this dude. So the Angels are going to hold on to Tovar. And I think the logic was you'd rather hold on to Tovar than Alex Johnson. Two similar players with the stick, but Tovar has a good glove as a defensive outfielder who can play in the infield if on an emergency basis. All right, the pitching. 3 of them, starting with Mr. Bill Singer. Wow. Long career for Bill Singer here. Dodger, started in 64, that decade. Then he got traded to the Angels in 73. He's on the Angels now, which is nice. And remember I talked about Toronto? There he is. 77, pitched opening day, pitched 12 starts, just didn't have it anymore. And he was gone. That's a little disappointing finish to his career. But anyway, the Angels, basically we moved Andy Mastersmith from the Angels to the Dodgers to get Bill Singer. And we did it sooner than we needed to. But that's okay. This Bill Singer card is reflected of pitching in Dodger Stadium. When he pitches for the Angels in 73, he's an all-star. And he pitches 315 innings. And you could tell the Dodgers had plenty of extra pitchers, so his innings are low. But for the Angels, they needed him to be a workhorse. That's the card I think they go and get between 70 and 71 and 74. That Bill Singer card. So we're going to take Bill Singer as a keeper. He will join Clyde Wright and Nolan Ryan. So you're going to have 3 horses who will pitch most of the time. And the number 4 starter, Jim McLaughlin's not going to matter that much. Next guy, a couple of relievers. We'll begin with Greg Garrett. And I think he might be wrapping it up here. Yeah, he only had a couple years. Greg Garrett in the 71 season was only 8 innings. Which is a shame because his ERA was 104. 1 run and 8 2/3 innings. 1 start in 2 games. Well, he walked 10. That might explain something. 10 walks and 2 strikeouts, but a 104 ERA. That's interesting. Anyway, he must be retired. So Greg Garrett's career will be over. And Eddie Fisher. He still has some years left. Eddie Fish. Long career for Eddie. 59. He's with the Giants and the White Sox. The Orioles in 66. I don't know if he got a ring for the Orioles. I guess he probably would have. And then with them in 67. Cleveland, California. Back to the White Sox again in 72 and 3. Long career, Eddie Fisher. But look at this. With the Angels in 71, he's pretty good. At age 34, that's a nice card right there. 2.72 ERA, a $1.19 WHIP, 119 innings, 3 saves. And, and he'll stretch it out through 72 and 3. Even though he bounces through different teams, he's worth keeping. And that's a pretty good setup for the Angels. Eddie Fisher, Bill Singer, and 2 hitters, Spencer Tovar. And all they got to do is find a team who needs put a guy on waivers and trade one of their waiver guys for a retired guy. Pretty simple setup for the Angels. They might just go into the draft in this configuration without making any deals. Looks pretty good. And we see them as, you know, like a couple game over 500 squad in an era where Oakland is winning this division, where the Rangers have the dangerous home run bats of Frank Howard, Mike Epstein, and will soon have not just Jeff Burrows, but Toby Harrah and Mike Hargrove. So the Rangers are ascending. And so, yeah, the Angels just have to keep all the pieces they have and do their best, build a great pitching staff, and try and win this with pitching and defense. Kind of like a poor man's version of the New York Mets. That's it from the California Angels elimination video. Thanks for checking these out. We'll see you next time.